1 second early, sure. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, February 26, 6 p.m. We're on the second floor of City Hall for a common council meeting. Media has been notified, agenda's been posted. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt.
Here.
Stephen Jopek. Eileen Daniel. Carrie Michalowski.
Here.
Gerald Anderson.
Here.
Thomas Barnett.
Here.
Leanne Felton.
Here.
Chris Hannes.
Here. So first, I'm going to turn to our attorney, Steve Sorensen, regarding quorum. So currently, we have 5 members present.
Yeah, I will let you know that earlier today when we found out that Stephen wasn't going to be here, we had found earlier that Eileen wasn't going to be here, it became quite evident that we're only going to have 5 members. We've always kind of been under the presumption that we have to have 6 to have a quorum. That's, at least in the 4 years that I've been here, that's kind of been the unwritten rule. So then I suddenly did a lot of research because we do not have 8 members. And if you read our ordinance, it says 2/3 of our members, and we only have 7 members. Now, 2 things. One, under Robert's Rules of Order, it's very clear that it's 1 more than half. So under Robert's rules, we would be fine because 1 more than half of the body, if it's 8 or 7, would have just been 5. But we've adopted as a city, for the Common Council, you've adopted a 2/3, which is always interesting because nothing ever equals 2/3 correctly. But we've basically rounded up. So 2/3 of 7 gave us 5. It really gave us 4 point something. So that's why we believe. Then I did further research through the Wisconsin League of Municipalities. I also went to McQuinlan's, which is the Bible on municipal law, and also went to the American Law Reporter section on municipal law. I will tell you there are 4 states in the United States that have specific statutes that control this situation. Wisconsin is not one of them. There's been no case in the state of Wisconsin that has defined this. I will also tell you there's been no Attorney General opinion that's defined this. There is no even district attorney opinion that's defined this. So it basically, what the evidence says is you're supposed to ask your city attorney. And so I did the research and concluded that based on the fact that we have 7 members at this time, that 5 would be under 2/3, which is what our ordinance requires. Now, I will tell you as a council, you could certainly vote to override my opinion. That's something you have the right to do as a council because it's your procedure. It's not my procedure, but of course I'm here to give you legal advice, and that's the advice that I'm giving you for tonight's. But I want you to know, and I want the public to know, we researched it and we spent quite a bit of time on it today trying to make sure that the decision we made wasn't just pulling something out of the air, but is substantiated by legal research.
Okay, with that, so we do have quorum based on our attorney's opinion. Based on number 3, Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to number 4, which is public comment. I have Sarah Morris.
Hello. Can you hear me okay? I'm Sarah Morris. I'm from NRG Media. And with me here is my general manager, Elise Fielder. We're here today to appeal to the City of Rhinelander and the Common Council regarding the Hodag Park Concert Series and the fee waiver ordinance. So anyone who's not familiar with what the Hodag Park Concert Series is, it will be its 2nd annual event here in Rhinelander at Hodag Park. Last year was our first year, and it was an incredible success. Basically, what we want to do is provide the community with free live music and family-friendly entertainment. And utilizing a part of the city's one of the larger investments of the Hodag Park amphitheater. So based on the criteria listed within the ordinance waiver, the Hodag Park Concert Series could be eligible or considered for a permit fee waiver. I mean, last year we raised over $7,000 for local nonprofits, so that was significant. The attendance was incredible. We had pretty nice weather, which was great, but the overall feedback we received too was incredibly positive. And I do believe that based on the bullet points listed in that fee waiver ordinance, you know, the Hodag Park Concert Series itself benefits the quality of the life of the city overall. It benefits local businesses within the city financially. We hope to continue the event for future years. I mean, it's obviously culturally significant because it's live music performed by local bands. And it affects Hodag Park and the neighborhood around it, increasing foot traffic and a number of other positive things. So, Elise, did you have anything else to add?
No, we appreciate your consideration for it. We were very pleased with how last year ended, and we're looking forward to having another successful year. So thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Lauren Sackett from the Chamber.
I figured since I was here, I would just do my update like I usually do when I come to these meetings. So I just wanted to do a couple of community, like save the dates for events that we have coming up. The Up North Community Expo is going to be on March 7th at the Hodag Dome. We have over 80 organizations from 7 counties joining us. And so if you have an interest in networking with other businesses or are visiting and seeing all of the different booths that are there, that is going to be on March 7th from 11 to 5. We also have Hodag Heritage Festival, the 4th annual, coming up on May 18th. And then we also have the Art Fair and the Car Show coming up on June 8th. And we are petitioning to have our fees waived, which you did do last year, but we had to resubmit because last year we were at Hodag Park. This year we are back at the courthouse. So with that significant change, we were asked to repetition for that. I also just wanted to share that we have a lot of tourism projects over the next several months. We have 2 Discover Wisconsin videos coming out this spring. We are looking to partner with the city through Rhinelander Tourism to do a wayfinding project. And we are working at the county level to do a trails mapping project and magazine, which we're really excited about. And then I just wanted to note that this year the Chamber is celebrating our 100th anniversary in existence as the Chamber. So this September during Chamber Month, we're going to plan a commemoration event, which I certainly invite you all to attend. And then just last week, for the first time in our history, we reached 400 Chamber members. So we're excited that the growth that we've seen and looking forward to the next 100 years.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, not seeing do any of the alders have any public comment. Okay. Move on to number 5, mayor's comments. I have none at this time. Number 6, administration report. I refer to our city administrator.
Nothing besides what was submitted with the packet.
Any questions for Patrick? Not seeing. Number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11 do not apply for this meeting. So we're moving on to 12, which is introduction of new business. And then I will be moving 12J to do that first due to we have that committee here and just for they don't have to sit through the whole meeting. So I first refer to our city administrator and or attorney to let us know what's going on with J.
Yeah, the Ethics Committee has been meeting on a regular basis, and we've come up with a ethics resolution, and I'm going to ask the chair to come forward if that's okay, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
He'll introduce himself, and he'll introduce the committee that's here, and we'll take it from there.
Can you turn that on, please? Just push a button.
There we go. Hit the button and it works better. Okay, my name's Michael Miller. I am the chair of the City of Rhinelander Ethics Commission. I'm here with committee members Doug Nelson and Bob Gauthier. In the packet in front of you, there should be a proposed ethics resolution that we're looking to start at the council level to have signed, but eventually we intend to work this out to the other city commission and the city employee level to have everybody sign off on a general code of ethics for what's expected for people working in and adjacent to city government. There's 5 general principles that we that we think that the city should espouse, which are to serve others, not ourselves, use resources with efficiency and economy, treat all people fairly, use the power of our position for the well-being of all Rhinelander citizens, businesses, and visitors, and create an environment of honesty, openness, and integrity. In pursuance of these goals, we have a list of items that we would ask that, again, starting at the council level, but eventually commission and city employee level as well, to positively affirm adhering to those 10 principles that are presented in the resolution in front of you. I'm here to entertain any questions anyone on the council might have about the scope of any of those concerns at this time. And if there aren't any questions, the vision of the committee was that we had this all put together along with some preliminary ethics and diversity, equality, inclusion training for when the new term of the council starts in the middle of April, with the expansion outward again to the city commission level and the city employee level to follow after that. We're still sourcing out some of the details on the relevant training modules, trying to account for costs and time and all of that. When we have that a bit more firmly nailed down, we will come back to you and present that for your consideration as well. But for tonight's purposes, we ask you to consider and hopefully approve support of the ethics resolution that was presented to you in your packet this evening.
Okay. Any discussion by council and/or action? Mr. Anderson?
Well, I think we should thank the committee for their work on this, and it's an important job, and I think they've got a good start on it. I don't have any problem with the stuff in it. I think most of it's pretty obvious, but we do need to state it from time to time.
Mr. Barnett?
My phone fell off. So with this resolution, were we operating with no bylaws or anything on ethics before?
Let me explain that a little bit. I was going to just jump in. One of the problems the committee was having is we really don't have a City of Rhinelander set of standards. We have the state of Wisconsin Code of Standards that we've, what the state law says they apply to all municipal. But we thought, or the committee thought, I shouldn't say we, I like to use that word a lot, but what the committee thought is that it would be better if we would put down the specifics so that someone would be forewarned of what we, or the committee, considers to be an ethical violation. What this ultimately will be, if you vote to approve this, is this will be the starting point. And if you'll note at the bottom of this resolution, you'll see where there's a signature line for every council member. So if the council approves it, we're going to ask each of the council members to personally sign it. And from there, we'll take it to the committees and the commissions and the other bodies of the city and the city employees. But the concept was, well, if the council is willing to put their name on this, then why would somebody else not be willing to put their name on it? And we thought that was probably the best way to do this. We're going to have ethics training through the committee and diversity inclusion training and equity training also, but that'll come. And we thought we'd wait till after the new council because we didn't want to have 2 council members sign it and then not be here anymore, then you have to go through it with 3 new council members. So that's why that's why the committee's presenting it. I hope that answers your question, Tom.
Yeah, it answers my question. So we were basically going on the state's guidelines, and we just made it more personal to Rhinelander.
Yeah, because we really found there were some things we couldn't enforce that people asked us to look into, and well, nobody had ever said they thought that was not appropriate. So,
Right.
And the state is not nearly as specific as this is. So.
Right. Yeah, I like the specificity. Is that a word?
It's specificity?
Yeah,
Yes.
that word. That's the one. But I too want to echo Alderperson Anderson's gratitude for doing such hard work and putting it together. I appreciate it, and I look forward to signing it.
Mr. Anderson?
I move approval of Resolution 2024-28, ethics resolution.
Hold second.
Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel, Stephen Jopek.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, so now we're going back to 12A, approval of common council meeting minutes from February 12th.
Holt, I will move to approve the common council meeting minutes from February 12th, 2024.
Mikulowski, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those who oppose, those who abstain, motion passes. Moving on to 12B, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-20. It's a fee waiver for the art in the courthouse lawn.
Barnett, I make a motion to approve proposed resolution 2024-20, approving the fee waiver request from the Rhinelander Area Chamber of Commerce for the art fair on the courthouse lawn / Rhinelander Car Show on June 8th, 2024.
Mikulowski, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel, Stephen Jopek, Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12C. We are hoping to have this ironed out for this meeting, but after the legal counsel has looked at it, there's become several concerns. So we're asking this be tabled to our next meeting, which would be the beginning of March. I don't know if Steve wants to have any opinion.
Yeah, there were just some things in that we have to iron out, because it was duplicitous at times and it was confusing at times, but it's not going to stop the project. It's just going to make sure it's done right.
Holt, we'll make a motion to table proposed resolution 2024-21 until the March 11th meeting.
Anderson, second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, abstain, motion passes. Moving on to 12D, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-22. This is for appointment of Corey to the residential building inspector. I refer to Chief Brian Denoncourt, which is T-O, I don't know the rest off the top of my head.
Stop while your head.
Right.
Good evening. This is kind of brought from concern with you guys about appointment. So we did interview with a couple of strong candidates last week. We came out to a conclusion unanimously that Corey Koster should move forward in the process in hiring. Brought it to the mayor. Mayor agreed with us, and so we bring him to you. I think he'll be a strong team member for us in the progression that we're trying to create in the city.
Yeah, so during interviews, the city administrator, our HR director, and as well Brian met. I didn't have a chance to meet with any of the candidates. All three are in support of hiring this individual, so that's the reason why I'm bringing it forward.
Barnett, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-22, approving the appointment of Corey Koster as the residential building inspector code enforcement official for the city of Rhinelander.
Holt, second.
Any discussion on the motion?
I just wanted to mention Corey would have been here tonight. He had a family emergency, but he was planning to be here. So sorry he isn't here. We'll get him to a meeting as soon as possible if he's approved.
Okay, any other discussion on said motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek, Eileen Daniel, Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12E, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-23 regarding Town and Country Agreement of the Oneida Project. Refer to Mark.
So this proposal is for the addition of Grant Street to the Oneida Avenue project. Like Patrick said in his administrator's report, we anticipate some grant funding available. I'd like just to quickly let you know how the city got in this position. The Oneida Avenue project, the base bid was $6.75 million. We anticipate the construction costs are going to be about $200,000 under budget. That leaves a $320,000 contingency available to the city that the funding agencies anticipate. That contingency, combined with the portion of that $200,000 in savings that rural development would fund, combined with excess engineering and administrative costs for the project, will leave the city with about $500,000 in grant funds available. If you recall, the last couple of meetings, the council approved the Pelham Street lift station. That's going to be 100% funded through rural development from this project. If we look at engineering and construction of the Pelham Street lift station, that leaves you with about $250,000 remaining to be spent. The Grant Street project comes to about $350,000. About $90,000 of that is water main. We've had talks with rural development and Safe Drinking Water, DNR, about funding the project. Rural development is on board. They will fund the Grant Street project. Safe Drinking Water will not. They won't kick in for that $90,000 worth of water main there. However, with grant money available through rural development, that should be enough to pay for the portion left behind. So if you're looking at 350, about 260 would be funded through rural development. I can't guarantee that they're going to fund 100% of that leftover costs. How they've approached the Oneida Avenue project prior to this, we have expectation that the majority of that cost will be funded by rural development. So worst case scenario, $350,000 project would cost the city about $120,000 is what we're anticipating on our current projection. So this $25,000 is for the engineering, design engineering, construction administration, and resident inspection for the Grant Street portion of the Oneida Avenue project.
Any questions for Mark? So just to be clear, the city portion would be a combination of probably funding through our PRAP tax based on its road surface work, as well as some of our utility, you're saying?
It would be through the water utility for the unpaid portion of the water, which is just the water. Rural development will pick up the majority of the road, if not all of it. We have to confirm that with rural development. They may pick up 100% of the road, sidewalk, curb and gutter, and the sanitary sewer and stormwater costs. We have to confirm that once we get the allocations put together, see what they'll pay, but historically through the Oneida Avenue project, that is what they have picked up. So if they do not pick up 100% of the street costs, the expectation, and this would be a decision made by you, Patrick, and Wendy, if that comes out of Pratt, some of that cost could come out of the stormwater utility, but the water main portion would come out of the water utility.
And you're estimating, I mean, one, we have to put it out for bid after it's designed, get bids back.
No, sir. We don't have to put it out to bid. We're going to do this as a change order.
Okay, so I mean, but we don't have hard dollar amounts. This is more for the
Correct.
designing to know what we need.
Yeah.
You're estimating that water utility side would be how much roughly?
About 90,000.
And so my next question would be for Wendy, our finance director, if she's shaking her head no, so that's not a good sign. Okay, so Patrick, city administrator, do you think we have roughly $90,000?
I would refer back to Wendy, actually.
So now
So I just want to make the comment that we do have cash on hand, but the amount of cash on hand that we're required to maintain, I don't know where our level is right now because I'm still working on the end of the year entries and through our audit. But yes, we do have cash on hand that could handle the 90,000.
It's what I would say is it's important, and I think Wendy would agree with this. It's important for us to be judicious with this money.
You know, I know we have lots of opportunities to fix roads, which is always great. You always want to fix them, but we need to stay at a stable point. And that's what Wendy is going to be would be driving at if she was still up there. So if we plan this out and plan these things right, we can have a lot of good improvements coming up, but we got to be smart with the funds.
True. Ms. Mikulowski?
Mark, if I remember right where Grant Street is that just a one block, goes from Oneida to Baird? Is that just one block?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
So another way to look at this too is we're going to be tearing up Courtney, that section, to do the utilities, hence why there's still leftover pipe. Grand Street being such a small project, if we were to hold it off for a future year, would probably be more cost effective, not, even counting the grant of Grand Street. Based on it's such a small project, most contractors are going to bid higher. So some of the hope here is between the funding source available through the Oneida project and location to Courtney and the top coat of Oneida, we should get good pricing. So that's so this resolution today is just saying we could explore the engineering. It still comes back to this body if they want to move forward on the project or not, which hopefully at that time we would have more financial numbers secured.
I would also add Grant Street, that one block, Carrie, has been on the capital improvement plan, the city's 5-year capital improvement plan for the last couple of years. So there has been intention to reconstruct that. It just happened to fall in place with this. And to the mayor's point, yes, if you were to rebid this at some other point, prices are going to be higher. You're basically getting a 75% discount on it right now, utilizing the grant funds.
So entertain any discussion and or motions?
Mikulowski, I'll make a motion to approve proposed resolution 2024-23, approving the amendment to the agreement with Town and Country Engineering for services related to the 2023 Oneida Avenue Area Utility and Street Improvements Project.
Hold second.
Any discussion on said motion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel. Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek. David Holt.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12F, discuss and or action proposed resolution of 2024-24, approving the propose for wells and pumps of $29,300. So this one's a little weird because we ran into some decisions we had to make. Patrick came to me asking if I would approve it, and I do support his logic and what he did.
So Kurt Johnson is here. He's our wastewater treatment plant water foreman. He's going to talk to you a little bit, but we had to make, under the procurement policy for the city, we're allowed to make emergency purchases, and this is one that I need to do based on Kurt's information. He's going to tell you about how the pumping, the gallons per minute were going down, and because we have 7 and 8 offline, this one we can't afford to keep losing. So Kurt and I got together, put our heads together, and decided that this needed to be an emergency purchase under the purchasing policy. So Kurt, go ahead.
I think you explained it pretty well, but yeah, the only way to take care of when we lose capacity in a well is do a rehab. Just like we did well 5 not too long ago. That historically was done every 3 years. 5 was done 5 years ago. Well 4 hasn't been done in 10 years. I only bring that up because we had money earmarked at the end of this year to do well 4. I'm safe to let it go till we can fund for it in 2025 and try to get it done in the beginning of the year. So we're going to use those funds for well 6 because it's kind of just popped up. I do want to say that CTW they started last year with a new rehabilitation procedure where they do a lot of pressure injection. So instead of scouring the casing and then doing their bleacher acid cleaning, they're now doing pressure injection where it goes out through the screen and into the gravel packing and takes care of more of the biofilm. And they feel that these real rehabilitations that were historically done every 3 years or 5 years on a well could go a lot longer. We also, the issue was brought up, since we don't have a well 9 or 7 and 8 are offline, 6 is pretty critical to have online. We can't keep up with water demand with just the reservoir pumping out. This is going to be a good test, but because I've talked to administration about doing VFDs at the reservoir because we only have soft starts there. So we can only run one booster pump at a time, pumping out of our reservoir. With VFDs, we'll be able to control the percentage of what we can pump out of there. So CTW, free of charge, is going to bring in a portable VFD box to hook up to our panels so we can control what we can pump out of the reservoir. So essentially we could run both boosters at the same time at 75% and probably get about 2,200 gallons a minute out of the reservoir so we could keep up with water capacity while 6 is down for a few weeks.
This was Kurt. Kurt did a great job coming to me and discussing this. Now, obviously, normally under normal circumstances, emergency purchases aren't something we like to do. We like to bring it before you, but unfortunately, the health and safety of the community was something we had to take into heavy consideration, which is what we did.
Yeah, and this is actually whatever the right word is for it. I'm glad it happened in the fall or in the winter here, because if this happened during the summertime, we would not be in a real good position with providing water.
Mr. Anderson?
What does VFD stand for?
What, can you repeat that?
What does VFD stand for?
Variable frequency drive. It allows you to control the speed of a motor.
So it's not a different kind of pump, but it's just a way of controlling what you got.
The motors are in the well houses up top, and it's a turbine pump that pulls the water out of the casing. So 4 and 5 have VFDs, 6 has them, but the reservoir does not on our booster pumps. They're soft starts. So basically what a soft start does, let's say you put power to a power tool and you get instant power. Well, with these big motors, if you you burn that motor out or wear it out with the windings in them if you just throw direct power to it. So a soft start eventually essentially slowly starts up a pump from a low percentage to 100%. And with the VFD, you can actually program and control it. So it will slowly go, but then you can, instead of a soft start goes all the way to 100%. A VFD, you can control it where you can set a certain percentage, so it will pump 75% of the capability of that.
Which should extend the life of said pump,
Yes,
as well as bring down energy costs.
It extends the life of it too, but you can also control it better, and you're not throwing 100% power at something, put it that way.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I move approval of resolution 2024-24 to contract with CTW Wells and Pumps for rehabilitation of well number 6 for the sum of $29,360.
Hold second.
Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Eileen Daniel, David Holt,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek, Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Leanne Felton, Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12G, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2024-25. This is for the old ICO or ICU gas station on Kemp Street. It's been purchased. They're doing a rehab and they're looking to sell liquor there. We have one available. They passed all their checks and are good to go, minus the decision by this body.
Barnett, I will make a motion to approve resolution 2024-25, approving the application of Rhinelander BP LLC for a Class A combination liquor and beer license.
Hold second.
Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, abstain, motion passes. Moving on to 12H, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2024-26 regarding beaver damage management program. I will refer to our city administrator.
We couldn't refer to Kurt on this one too. That would have been great. So what this is something the city signs every year. It's $1,500. The Department of Agriculture has a beaver damage control. This is to stop the beaver dams from basically being put in rivers and creeks and everything else and backing everything up and all the damage it causes. From what I understand, the city's been taking part in this since 2017.
Mr. Barnett?
Well, there's one thing I do know for sure. I can't think of a better guy to be in charge of beaver dams than our new city administrator. So I'm going to make a Motion to approve the authorization and directing the city administrator to sign a cooperative service agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture for participation in the 2024 Operational Beaver Damage Management Program.
Hold second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Can I add to the motion to call him procurer of beaver dam management?
Really wish you wouldn't.
Okay. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek, Eileen Daniel, Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Motion passes. Moving on to 12I, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2024-27 regarding town and country engineering for the West Hill Walking Trail. Refer to Mark.
So Patrick approached me about putting a scope together for designing this bike path. I know it was discussed at council that Parks Department go through and just place that bike path in there. I actually walked it last week. That it's a small stretch. It's like 375 feet, but it is wetland through there. So at the very least, putting a design together, you'll need permits through the DNR for wetland disturbance. So this proposal is for design of the bike path and permitting. This also would include bidding and construction administration. There's a very real possibility you wouldn't need that. If you get approval through the DNR for disturbing the wetlands, you could build this pretty cheaply if it's just going to be gravel. If it's under 5,000, you don't need quotes. If it's between 5,000 and 25,000, you can just get quotes and you don't have to bid it. And Steve is more of authority on that than I am. So there's a very real chance you wouldn't even spend money on bidding. I will add, however, with this, there would be some work involved, again, with the wetland delineation. That is not quoted in this. Town and Country does not do wetland delineations. We'd have to contract with a third party to do that. And there's the gap parcel that needs to be addressed as well. Right now, it's a gap that has to be sorted out, and we'd have to do some surveying through there and identifying some property pins. So there are some issues with that path, but with this proposal, we'll help the city sort it all out.
So my question for Patrick would be, my understanding this wasn't a budgeted item for this fiscal year.
No.
So with the estimate of being 9,500, what's the plan for payment?
ARPA funding is where I would look first, and then Pratt tax, but I believe ARPA, I believe we have money left.
So Mr. Barnett?
So when we passed this resolution to have the city Parks Department kind of go in there and throw down a path by springtime, I decided to take a walk out there after being invited by some of the constituents that live around there. And walking through it, I mean, there is literally no way but to go through the wetland area. I mean, you got to jump over puddles and all that kind of stuff. The wetland goes right through there. So I do think that it's pertinent that we absolutely 100% take any advice from the DNR because you know, that's their area of expertise, not ours. So I'd rather do this right and than do it fast. So I agree with Patrick's advice on to kind of let this go through the DNR as well and make sure that we're doing everything above board instead of just getting it done.
Mark, and I know it's early in the phase, but would you have a ballpark of what you think this might cost for total putting in?
For gravel, if you're just going to put gravel in there, maybe $8,000.
So, Mr. Anderson?
I had a question that you mentioned the gap parcel, and you mentioned surveying it as far as the boundaries. Does this include figuring out the title on that property?
It would. So Oneida County shows it as a gap parcel. We generally work with Genesat on these type of issues, any land issues, any surveying or land surveys that need to be done. John Bando did some investigation on it. There's some indication that it may be a city parcel, but it was never deeded to the city. So there's some investigation that needs to be done. So yeah, at the very least, it's going to be a title search to see what's going on there. Beyond that, if it's not a city parcel, the city would have to petition for ownership of that parcel, and that would involve some discussion between me, Genesat, and Steve to figure out how that would be accomplished. And I would defer to Steve on that.
Yeah, before you do any of that, we've done all that work already. I'm, in fact, amazed that someone would suggest that that would be part of this your project. Because that work has been, for the most part, done and completed. At least the research has been done. So in that sense, whoever you have or you've just talked to about that, I would strongly suggest that before they do too much more, they talk to me.
I will probably have a conversation with you tomorrow after the meeting on that then, Steve.
Yeah, yeah, enough said.
So we all know the benefits of said trail, and we're shooting roughly of a $20,000 budget to complete it between gravel, engineering, and building. So that's kind of decision tonight. Do we want to start this process to spend roughly $20,000 for that benefit, which is your guys' decision? Yep, Ms. Michalowski.
So once you get done with your part, is it possible that our Parks Department still do the work?
Yeah,
do the actual work?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can get the land sorted, and it sounds like Steve has already done that, we get the permitting through the DNR, yes. If the DNR allows the gravel path through there.
Okay.
So DNR may not even allow that. They may say you need to add boardwalk. That's going to be a DNR decision. But if it's gravel path, DNR allows that, you get a general permit for that, absolutely, the city could do it.
Okay.
Mr. Barnett?
So do we need to do this before we can have the DNR come out and even tell us if it's feasible?
Part of this would be the permitting, Tom. So in this is us putting the permit application together, doing the research, applying for the permit through the DNR, and dealing with the DNR.
What are your feelings? Is the DNR usually typically pretty easy to work with on this type of thing, or?
It's 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
My big concern is spending all this money and then just having them say, you can't do it. And then that's a lot of money right down the tube, as opposed to just having our Parks Department throw some gravel on there like we originally thought. The price tag seems to be going up at this point.
I would, if I can throw this in there. And the first thing we're going to do is fill out the application and start the conversation with DNR. If DNR says you can't put a path through there, you might spend $400 in our time putting an application together, but that would be the first thing we'd do, Tom.
Okay.
We're not going to go out there and survey it and design it and get a bid package together without knowing you can actually do it. So that would be our first step.
Okay, all right, I appreciate you clearing that up.
Mr. Holt?
Yeah, yeah, I think the price of the permits is worth investigating this. There'll be significant benefit to this, and it sounds like we can't do anything without that decision from the DNR.
I would not advise it.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-27, approving the proposal from Town and Country Engineering for design, engineering, and construction administration services related to the proposed West Hill walking trail, with just the clarification that the first step is applying for a permit for the DNR, which will not incur a huge cost and will give us a decision on whether we can move forward.
Michalowski, second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Ms. Michalowski?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm obviously I'm going to vote in favor of this motion, but we have to also keep in mind the safety for the residents in that area, because Davenport Street to walk on in that area is completely unsafe. So this makes us, the safety aspect alone, in my opinion, is worth the cost of the permit fees.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel. Stephen Jopek.
Motion passes. 12J, we have already discussed. Moving on to 12K, discuss and/or action of downtown parking rates and maps. First refer to our city clerk who put this together.
All right, so at the request of council at our previous meeting, they wanted information about city parking lots as well as fees for parking passes. So I've compiled a memo, and Mariah, our deputy clerk, did a fantastic job. She went out to every single city-owned parking lot and found every single city parking sign. So all of that is outlined throughout here, of every official city parking lot, as well as Lindy Cleaner's empty lot, which has just kind of been used as a parking lot since it's been cleared out. So if council has any questions that they may have heard from residents regarding parking, I am here to answer them. Otherwise, everything's in the memo of kind of parking in the city of Rhinelander and what you need to know about it.
Mr. Barnett.
Well, I spent quite a bit of time looking over all the maps and numbers that Mariah and you threw together, and I just want to thank you guys for your hard work, and especially Mariah. I hope she gets a stipend for gas, but I appreciate her going around and checking all the parking lots. From everything that I've seen in the package and the rates that you guys put forward, I'm fine with all of it. So I will make a motion to, what number are we on? Letter, I'm sorry. Oh, 8K. I will make a motion to approve the downtown parking rates and map.
Well, that's status quo.
Oh, so
Yeah,
we don't need to make
yeah.
a motion?
No.
Oh, okay, great. Then,
Yeah. It'll be only if you wanted to modify or change something.
All right, well,
Yep, this was just pretty much a discussion piece on all of the stuff. As kind of seen in the memo, I also indicated the 3 complaints that we do here. I've listed them, but we do not really receive many complaints in the clerk's office, at least since I've been here, but these are the common ones that we have seen. Some issues on people knowing where and where not is permitted parking, but we do have signs available, but there are some parking spots that don't have any signs nearby them, so they're just kind of unpermitted because there's no sign saying by permit for parking.
That was good practice then.
Yeah, true. I have some questions for our Chief of Police, Lloyd, if possible. So I know from a public point of view, some of this stems from the reconstruction of the downtown that happened several years ago. Everyone brings up we have lack of parking. You know, some of it is based on lack of parking close to where they want to go versus having to walk a block, half a block. Do you see a lot of calls on your end of people staying either on the street downtown or in these lots longer than the signs permit and or not buying the parking permit where there's violation issues?
Very seldom do we get any type of complaint regarding permitted or non-permitted. If we get complaints, it's almost historically always downtown, the 2-hour parking limit. And when we address that, we have to chalk the tires and come and make sure we can prove the vehicle hadn't been moved in those 2 hours. And doing foot patrol checking, it's almost historically an employee of a business downtown. It's more common when the weather gets cold, where the employees don't want to walk from the back lots. They're going to park right on Brown Street. We do have one business on East Davenport that's been very vocal about parking enforcement. I myself have written 3 citations for parking violations on that eastern part of Davenport Street. That business also has removed some of their on-site parking by creating outdoor seating and have pushed their customers onto the city street. I have gone door to door in that block, and the other employers in that area have large parking lots. So I'm not sure if they're customers or if it's their own employees that are parking there for the 2 hours. But we do enforce parking when we get time. We wrote to over 340 tickets last year for parking. Sure, most of that is our overnight parking enforcement, but we have, not only do we have the city ordinance, but we also have state statute that we can utilize for parking enforcement, anywhere from not having a valid permit down at the boat landing to parking wrong side of the street, handicap parking, parking enforcement in the larger retail lots when the signs for handicap parking are properly and legally posted. So parking enforcement is not our primary thing. It's something that we do as part of our patrol. So especially 2-hour parking is very difficult to do because it requires obviously to mark and then come back in 2 hours. When you have a call for service, mental health commitment, domestic violence, or drunk driver, you're not going to get back for hours. Obviously, the history of the department is we had a paid position meter maid that took care of that position. And we had meters downtown back in the 90s and 2000s. They were pulled out, and all that responsibility was put on the police department, and our staffing numbers have gone down. So we're at less sworn officers than we were at that time period when we had parking enforcement. So again, it's not going to be our primary thing. We'll do the best we can when we're out patrolling.
Is there anything currently you think should be tweaked or looked at from cost point of view, maps, signage?
No, it just requires me typically once a year to walk downtown and remind the businesses, to remind their employees to remove parking until their lots to allow the customers to come downtown and park.
Mr. Barnett?
The one thing that I will add about parking, especially downtown, is, and I know this is nothing that we can do right now, but it's something that I really would like the city to look into further in the future, and that's becoming, instead of just barely ADA compliant, much more ADA compliant. There is absolutely no spots for handicapped people to get out of their cars during the winter because the snow gets piled up in the intersections that are made for the wheelchairs. I've had that complaint 2 years in a row now from several of my clients that come into the store that are wheelchair bound, and I know for a fact that we can do a lot better as far as being compliant for ADA purposes. So that's something I'd like to see really looked at the next time we look at parking.
We did include a new handicap parking right here on King Street, and there's plans to put one again in the area of East Davenport and Pelham area.
Any other discussion? Not saying thank you. Okay. Just to be clear, any kind of action on this item or? Okay, not seeing that. Moving on to 12L, discuss and/or action of status update from the city attorney regarding a transfer property RH 34-2.
Yeah, there's not a lot that's happened in the last 2 weeks, except that the person that is looking at buying it, who will buy it with the defective title, talked to me the other day and said that he'd probably be willing to rent it out to the person that wants to buy it, but is not willing to buy it with the defect in the title. I also talked to the Register and Probate, and she does have the matter scheduled, so that we'll eventually have a probate hearing, but if I can save that $1,000 cost, I will, and we'll sell it to the person that will take the property without having the title clear, and he'll worry about it. So that's where we're at.
Any questions for our attorney? Okay, moving on to 13, future agenda items. Anything anyone would like to add? Okay, not seeing. Move on to 14. Our next regular meeting would be March 11th at 6 p.m. It is 6:55, meeting adjourned.